Hi, I'm Carrera Alvarez, Signature Artist for Wella Professionals. Today on my model Maddie, I'm super excited to do a complete transformation of her color. We're gonna do an all-over bleach and tone. But before I get started, I wanna go through the full consultation and the hair analysis. The consultation and hair analysis is one of the most important parts of a successful journey to going blonde. What it's gonna do is it's gonna tell us not only our starting point, but really gauge what products we're going to be choosing to use. So first I'm going to identify her natural level, and that's gonna tell me what my starting point is. So Maddie is a natural level 5, but as you can see here, she's got some variations of dimension through the ends. So for her mids, she's a level 6, transitioning down to a 7. So that's also gonna help gauge my application process. Now that I've identified that we're starting at a level 5, my goal is to get her to the lightest blonde. So because I'm looking for 5 levels of lift, and with her medium hair texture and massive amounts of density, I'm going to approach this with a back-to-back foil technique off of the scalp to get a really good lift. It's gonna help me control not only my application, but give me a really good even lift through those mids and ends. And it's also going to help from the lightener drying out in the middle of the application. So it's gonna give me the maximum amount of lift and making sure that it's super even roots through ends. So I'll be doing this application in a 2-step process. I will foil back to back the entire head, and then that will give me the ability to go back and address the roots while the ends are still processing in the foils. So now that we've talked about the technique that I'm gonna be using, let's talk the product choice. Because Maddie's hair is in great condition and I wanna maintain that condition, I'm gonna go in with Blonde or Plex, and in the foils, I'm gonna work with 13 volume. That's gonna allow me the time to go in and put the back-to-back foils in and allow it to have a slow, controlled lift. Once I've completed all the foils, I will then go back through the root area and work with Blonde or Plex in 20 volume on the scalp, so it gives me a really clean, beautiful lift roots through ends. I've already gone ahead and sectioned Maddie, and my technique that I'm gonna use today, or my sectioning, is going to just be a very simple 4-quadrant application from the back of the head and through the profile. And I'm actually gonna start my application at the nape area, working with back-to-back foils up to the occipital bone, and then I'm gonna switch over the other side. That way, as it's lifting, they'll lift consistently throughout the entire back. I've also set myself up for success on my trolley. So I have pre-cut foils that are longer than the length of her hair. I have my tint brush and tail comb, and I've already mixed up my Blonde or Plex. I always like to have a spare tint brush on my tray, so in case I drop one or mine starts getting a little bit messy, I can switch it out and still have really clean application. For my initial application, I'm going to start at the nape area. This is gonna allow me to have better control of the sections, and I'm gonna have a cleaner application. My subsection, as you can see, is just mimicking her hairline, so I'm making sure slightly diagonal, and I'm making sure that the amount of hair is not too thick. It's gonna be super important for saturation and application that I have a very clean, very minimal amount of hair in each foil. So now that I have my foil in, you can see the amount of hair that's in each packet. And I'm gonna apply a good amount of lightener to those mid-lengths and ends. As you can see here as well, I'm taking it almost to the scalp area, but that's the area that I'm gonna address on my next application. So saturation is key. You wanna make sure that you have minimal amount of hair in each packet and a good amount of product so that you're getting a really nice, clean, even lift. And I'm gonna fold it in just as you would if you were doing a highlight, making sure that I'm folding that foil right at that subsection. Having nice clean foils is gonna set you up for success when you go back through and do the root application in between. So back-to-back foils. As I'm folding my foil, it's important to get right up to where that hair is sectioned. This is gonna allow it to kind of lock that hair in, so as I move it around during the scalp application, it stays secure in that section. So with the Wella application, you have a few options of putting in your foils. So sometimes you'll see me actually, if I'm highlighting, I like to have a little pre-fold on most of my foils. Because I'm working with a back-to-back sectioning today, I didn't really feel like it was necessary. You can also do your tail comb application. So you can insert with your tail comb if that suits you. I choose to do it this way, where it's just a little bit more simple for me to control the hair. Doing back-to-back foils can be a little bit time-consuming, but taking these extra steps is really gonna set you up for success for the end result. I'm gonna continue working in this manner until I get up to the occipital bone, and then I'm gonna switch to the second side so that this is gonna be lifting at the same exact time. Now that I've finished the back 2 quadrants, as you can see, I have a ton of foil and I've gone through 5 bowls of Blonde Plex already. But now I'm gonna transition it to the front. I'm gonna do each of the front sections as a whole, so then that way, if I need to start rinsing section by section, it will make it easy to do that. Now that we've completed all of the foiling, I'm gonna go ahead and just take a peek on how the progress is coming along. It's looking great, great porosity. So now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next step and apply the product right to the root area. I've mixed up Blonde Plex with 20 volume to go back through the root area, and I'm gonna just gently take the foil and pull it just a tiny bit to expose the areas that weren't previously lightened. You can see that just that gentle tug is just exposing that root area that hasn't been lightened yet. You can see that I'm using a good amount of saturation. It's this saturation in conjunction with that heat from the scalp that's gonna allow the root area to quickly catch up to the lifting process that's happening through the mid-links and the ends. Now that I've completed adding the lightener to the entire root area, I'm gonna go back to the section that I first started on, and I'm gonna start gently pulling out the foils. This is gonna allow me to marry my foil with my retouch. It's also gonna give me the opportunity to make sure that I have even lift and to reapply in any areas that might need that. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for consistency of the lift. You can see how there's a little bit of warmth still left in this area. I'm just applying fresh lightener just to that area and making sure that the root color is completely married with those ends. Now that I have removed all of the foils, I went ahead and married the roots and the ends together. And as you can see, saturation is key. So I went ahead and made sure that I added more product, and now I'm gonna allow her to sit and let the lightener do its thing. I've allowed her to process. Now I'm gonna check to see if she's at the level and warmth that I want her to be at. So I'm just gonna take a little bit off here. Look at that, so beautiful. Let me check it with my level finder. Look at that, she's at a level 10. So I am very pleased with the overall lift, and I'm gonna go ahead and get her shampooed. I blow dried a small area so you can see what the hair looks like in its raw, lightened form. I didn't do any pre-toning at all at the shampoo bowl. So let's recap using FAST, our formulation. So you remember that I worked with Blonde Plex and 13 volume at the ends and 20 volume at the root area. My application was back-to-back slices all the way up the entire head, just directly off of the scalp through the ends, and then going back through and applying it to the root area once the foils were all placed in. Then saturation. So you saw the amount of product that I had on her hair, and you can see the end results. That saturation is really key to success when you're lightening. And the last one is timing. Just making sure that you're staying on top of checking your timing, remixing your lightener every 15 minutes, and making sure that you're keeping the hair in its best integrity. So as you can see, what we have here is a consistent level 10. So I've chosen not to go in and do any type of pre-toning. And what I'm actually gonna tone with is Illumina color. I love the idea of it being still a permanent color, mixing it with our 2 parts pastel to dilute it down a tiny bit, a level 8 stroke 3/8, so a level 8 gold pearl, equal parts mixed with a level 10 stroke 3/8, a level 10 gold pearl, and 2 parts of our pastel developer. And I've pre-sectioned the hair here into 4 quadrants. I'm gonna start here at the nape area and work my way up, doing the root area first to allow for the porosity on the ends. And the reason why I'm starting at the nape and working my way up is really I wanna make sure that I have control. So in the case where my toner starts to drop quicker than I want to, I can take her to the shampoo bowl and rinse section by section if I need to. I finished applying at the root area, so now I'm gonna go directly through and comb through the ends. I'm working on damp hair just to help even out the porosity and to also minimize the amount of tonal deposit that I get roots through ends. Check out Maddie's finished look. Isn't it amazing? As a quick recap, we went through and did a full bleach and tone utilizing back-to-back slices with Blonde Plex and 13 volume and Blonde Plex 20 volume. As a toner choice, I used Illuminicolor equal parts 8-stroke 3/8 plus 10-stroke 3/8 with double pastel developer. And just to finish off the entire thing, after I shampooed it, I went over it with Color Fresh Mask Lilac Frost just to give it that really beautiful iridescent kiss. So check out wellaed.com for more blonding education and follow me on Instagram at carrera.wella.